Welcome back, everyone. POW Ponder on Weather here. We've got a massive storm system impacting the West Coast. That'll set the stage for a cross-country storm that will move inland, bringing severe weather and possibly the biggest snowstorm of the season for the Northeast. So let's take a look at the satellite picture. This morning, you can actually see this massive swirl out there off portions of Northern California. That brought all the heavy snow into Portland, dumped 10 inches of snow for them. That is diving south and bringing some very cold temperatures. And it's been snowing in places they just don't normally see the snow. They had some snow near the Hollywood sign out there. But man, these mountain rangers are going to get feet of snow. And it's really going to be impacting Southern California with a ton of rain today. Further south, you can actually see the lift mechanism already injecting this kind of high clouds across portions of the southern plains, and kind of a chilly, just dreary, drizzly day down there in portions of Texas, getting into Oklahoma area. Let's take a look at the setup yesterday, because man, this is, you talk about extremes. I mean, we essentially had 171 records either broken or tied yesterday, from record high temperatures to record low maximum temperatures to record high minimum temperatures. It was a crazy time, bringing all the colder conditions up for the much of the west and northwest, and all those well above average temperatures across a good chunk of the south and portions of the east. So wow, but that cold front has finally been on the move, and it's shifting a little bit further south. So this is actually current temperatures as this morning as I'm taping this broadcast. But yeah, you can see the plunge of that shallow, deep Arctic air, and it sinks fast, and it's making its beeline across portions of Texas, getting into Louisiana, actually wiping away those record high temperatures and filtering in some much cooler conditions, actually much nicer conditions. But a lot of the action is off the West Coast, where they bring in a lot more snow. But this is some of the snow totals over the last 3 days. We've been talking about this high impact event across portions of the upper Midwest. It did in fact verify. Apple Valley in Minnesota checked in at 19 inches. One of the highest spots were portions of Wisconsin picked up 26 inches of snowfall. You can see the snow blanketed across northern portions of Michigan and northern portions of New England here. And then just to the south, they had widespread icing occur, and especially in portions of Wisconsin and Michigan, where they're still dealing with about 700,000 customers without power. And a lot of these areas had a half inch, if not almost a quarter inch of ice building on all the power lines and all the trees out there. But all the action now returns down to the West Coast. This is the storm system is going to bring significant mountain snows. This is kind of a rare event, guys, seeing all these, places under extreme impacts, if not major impacts, in a good part of California, with again snows that just don't normally reach places. Even some of the lower elevations are at least getting a dusting, but man, the higher elevations are really cranking out with blizzard conditions, and down here in portions of just outside of Los Angeles. And in fact, in Los Angeles, they kind of got a rare moderate risk for excessive rainfall today. Just today alone, they could be looking at several inches of rainfall across those regions, even drifting down into San Diego. So definitely they had some hail reports down there. They even had maybe a tornado report down there. It's been some crazy weather happening, but all that is going to be building, and they're going to be moving inland and set the stage for possibly severe weather. So if you are in the market of a weather station, I highly recommend the Tempest Weatherflow weather station. It's one I personally have myself. The cool thing about this weather station, this just has another weather data point to it. So if you do install one of these, this data actually goes back to the National Weather Service and gets fed back into the models. So that actually helps them forecast the weather going forward. And I've had one of these for about 3 years myself. So if you'd like to purchase one of these, they do in fact, you can use this discount code, get a 10% discount and free shipping at checkout. You can just click this link below, and that'll be the description below, so you can just click on it and order one for yourself. I highly recommend it. So let's take a look at the overall snowfall for the next 48 hours, guys. This is just 48 hours. This is pretty insane amounts. And some of these mountain ranges, that's not a misprint. That is 90 inches of snow. That's just in the next 48 hours. Of course, this is probably 7,000 feet and above in elevation, but still, this is an extreme amount of snow in a short amount of time, even for those mountain ranges out there. And some of even the lower levels, 2 to 5 feet above 4,000 feet, and about a foot of snow if you're just dropping below 2,000 feet. And again, below 1,000 feet in elevation, they've seen at least a dusting of snow just outside of Los Angeles and expect more to come. So this has definitely been kind of a rare event you just don't normally see down there, especially some of those lower elevations with the snowfall. And the rain is going to be a big deal, and that's why they've got that moderate risk in place further south into San Diego. I mean, they desperately need the rain, but this is coming after those 9 atmospheric river events. They had a little bit of a dry spell, but this week they've been crushed with very heavy rain and all the snow building up on those mountain ranges again. So definitely be on high alert for a lot of flash flooding, especially along the coastal regions down there in California, but even inland as well. Portions of Vegas could get rain. I mean, even in the desert Southwest, getting into Arizona. So yes, Nevada, kind of a rare event to see all that rain down there, especially in southern Nevada, where they desperately need it around in and around Lake Mead areas. But there's that stream of just kind of a light rain. Again, it's just more of a drizzle, just little light rain, just kind of an overrunning type setup. These are warmer temperatures aloft with that shallow cold air. Honestly, if we were cold enough at the surface, this would be a freezing rain type setup, but we just missed the mark. These temperatures are well above freezing, but yeah, this is the same type setup you would actually typically get during kind of an ice storm. Just the temperatures are above freezing. These are, but you definitely have the warm air aloft, and this is why you get kind of a dreary, drizzly, light rain in these neck of the woods. So it's not going to be amounting to much, just kind of a more of a nuisance more than anything, just for the next 24 hours, 48-hour time frame. But like I mentioned, that storm system will be on the move. So by the time we wake up on Sunday morning, it'll still be in and around Southern California, but be impacting portions of Arizona by the time we head into Sunday morning time frame, pushing those rain showers out of California and starting heading into across the desert Southwest and really getting into portions of the Four Corners regions, especially into portions of northern New Mexico and the Texas Panhandle. And it does go kind of a little bit of a negatively tilted, and that's where they're going to have the lift mechanism and possibly some severe threats. And look at those tight isobars. That's indicative of the winds are really going to be cranking probably about 70 miles an hour by the time you get into that 6-7 o'clock time frame on Sunday. But they do in fact have that enhanced risk for severe weather across extreme portions, the northwestern portions of Texas, but especially in and around the Oklahoma City area. They could hit hard with all 3 modes of severe storms after probably the 6 o'clock time frame. So definitely be on high alert down here further south into Abilene, where I think kind of things get going and they're swinging across. And as they do, that 6 o'clock to, like, say, midnight time frame, as it kind of moves from west to east, definitely be on high alert for all those 3 modes of severe storms. So I do feel the initial stage will be kind of a more isolated, discrete type supercells that pop up. So more larger hail, potential tornado activity with those, and then it will form kind of a squall line further to the south across west Texas down towards the Abilene area. That will be transferring to more of a damaging wind threat. So further north, I think you got to be concerned about those larger hailstones and some tornadoes put for them, and that'll feed into portions of Kansas as well. And that's about 7 o'clock. So as we move the time frame towards about 10, we do have a squall line that forms further south, but they are going to be dealing with a capping inversion further south as well. Well, that's that warm air aloft, and as storms try to rise within that updraft, they get shut down by that strong cap in these neck of the woods. And most of these should be of the elevated nature, though, forming on top of the boundary layer, and those typically are not severe that you got to be concerned about. They're damaging wind threat and pretty much downburst winds as these storms kind of collapse under that strong. So you could get some still strong wind gusts in this situation, but not really concerned about surface-based storms down here portions of Dallas and further southbound. But yeah, further north headed into Oklahoma City, fishtailing across portions of eastern Oklahoma. Definitely be on high alert for all those three modes, because you won't have the strong cap in those areas. Those will be able to penetrate the boundary layer and rise to those 50,000, 60,000 foot cloud tops. So those are the ones I'm more concerned about up there in and around Oklahoma. But as this moves across, it's going to be rapidly moving across, and we could have a little bit more instability by the time we head into your Monday time frame of, again, another possible severe setup heading into eastern portions of Tennessee and eastern portions of Kentucky as we get into the afternoon time frame on your Monday time frame. And this is the surface map, what it would actually look like as these storms move across. Again, the tight isobars definitely indicate those higher wind gusts will be, transpiring down to the surface. But we've got some warmer temperatures, again, that warm air aloft, and that's kind of more of a nastier type ice storm setting up again across portions of the same areas that don't really need the ice because they just had it. And the portions of central Wisconsin, getting into central and southern Michigan again, portions of northern Pennsylvania, upstate New York could get hit with some more ice as we head into your Monday afternoon, Monday night, Tuesday morning time frame, and then snow to the north. They've got well above average snows in portions of Minneapolis. They're going to be adding to those totals again after they just got another 16, 17 inches from that last snowstorm. But yet another storm system will be impacted the West Coast with, again, more snow for the Intermountain West, and then more rain going to be impacting portions along the Pacific Northwest, getting back into Northern California as well. But all this kind of sets the stage for kind of a higher impact event, and possibly the biggest snowstorm of the season coming to fruition starting on the 28th time frame. This could slow down, and it could be a 1-2 punch, really adding to these totals. So down here, as this low pressure really starts to form, there are indications it could actually slow down. And that when it does that, that's going to be adding to those moisture levels and adding to those snow totals in places where they desperately need the snow. They've had not any snow, hardly. I mean, New York City's had not even a ½ inch. I mean, places in Dallas has had more snow than New York City, if you believe that. Philly's like a ½ inch. DC's like a ½ inch. I mean, they've basically had not a winter up there. But winter's not over, and you're going to be adding to these totals. So New York City, I think, is going to be adding to those totals, but especially in and around the Boston area, you could have definitely your biggest snowstorm of the season for them. Back into Massachusetts, into Rhode Island, as we head into your last day of February, going into the first day of March there, as that storm system will be slowing down there in portions of Maine, and they're going to get hit hard with heavier snows for that region. Again, we'll be watching that other storm system coming in off the West Coast. So it's very active. So this moves out. It's clear in the midsection of the country, but we'll be watching that coming in from the west. So this is that first initial snow setup between, say, the 28th and the first time frame. This is the blend of models, and I'm showing you this because it's probably the most conservative. I know the GFS is really bullish with this system, European, but this is the blend right now. So we're looking at possibly 1 to 2 inches in and around the New York City area, getting into portions of New England here. And again, we'll zoom in some of these totals, what it could look like. This is, again, very kind of preliminary, but I'm just using the blend models right now. Boston, maybe 6 inches, right? I mean, some of these totals not really significant, but and these winter standards, is the biggest one of the season. And then we've got more snow coming after this. So not just this event, but we have another high impact event, possibly the 3rd and the 4th time frame. That sets the stage in the middle of the country. So by the time we head into your second of the month, I'm switching to the ensemble guidance now, because most of the regular models have been hinting at this. But it's going to have a significant trough, not just moving in from the west, but it's going to be diving a little bit further south, filtering in some of that cold air, pushing it further south into the southern plains. This is your blue line here. That's typically kind of your freezing line, where it could be, say, Thursday night at 6 o'clock time frame. So as we move through and head on to the surface map, depends on how far this is able to shift further south. But more and more guidance is hinting at possibly some snow as far south as the Oklahoma area, even parts of North Texas maybe possibly getting into the snow action by the time we head into your Thursday, Friday timeframe. Even the ensembles now are kind of hinting at that is a possibility, depends on how cold you get and how farther south you go. But this is going to be setting the stage for another possibly significant snowstorm heading up here into portions where, again, they haven't seen much snow at all either. Portions of Indiana, portions of Ohio here, West Virginia, getting into the mid-Atlantic states. So this has definitely been a game changer. We've been seeing this overall pattern with the La Nina finally losing its grip. We've got the SOI index dropping. I mean, things are changing, things are shifting. The overall weather patterns are in fact moving. So these places that are kind of going to be getting snow moving forward hasn't seen much because the weather pattern's been so locked for so long of time. That's why you've been so dry. But things definitely are changing in a big way. So by the time we head into March, we've got that significant snowstorm brewing for the Northeast. So you got that first one coming in. But yes, another one, even higher probability, the second, third, ending on the fourth time frame. But even on the ensembles guidance, hinting at a pretty good snowmaker across the Northeast going into the following weekend. So guys, I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video, definitely hit the subscribe button, and catch me in the next update where I protect you before and after the storm.